Want to know what I've been reading recently? Stay tuned and find out. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got for you a recent reads. So I've got 3 books here that I have read recently, and I'm going to share them with you. They're all pretty solid. I got a short story collection and 2 novels. So very cool stuff. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into the books. Alright, if you are intrigued with any of these 3 books, we'll have them linked down below, so don't forget to check that out. And let's get into the first book here. First book is Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates. This was in my November TBR. I decided to, well, I read it like at the very end of the month. I finished it like December 1st. So it's a really, really good book. I believe I gave it, 4 stars, 4.5 stars, something like that. It was really solid, wintry vibes. The plan I had was to read a couple of like winter books so I can get another like winter book recommendation video out. I did one last year, or like the beginning, very, very beginning of this year, I think it was. So I was planning to make like a part 2, and so this one being Voices in the Snow, it just kind of made sense to do as a winter one. I will be reading the second book. I really intend to finish this. It's a 4-book series, and this was really good. I liked it. So Claire is a woman who gets in like this car accident, and then like this guy Duran kind of like takes her in, and they're like kind of captive in this house. But like the beginning kind of makes the play off like Duran is like this really like kind of like psychopath person who's like kind of possibly trying to kill her, but you find out the truth that like, you know, he's fine. He's a nice guy. And they're kind of like held into this house together, and they're trying to protect each other, and it's really cool, and I really enjoyed the story. I really can't wait to get to the second book. So, yeah, there you have Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates. Alright, the next book I'm going to talk about is The Nothing Man by Catherine Ryan Howard. So this is a book within a book. I will say it's not as good as the plot, but it was a really good book. So it's not the longest book. It's a pretty decent sized book, I'll say. I really enjoyed the story. This is about a girl named Eve. Yes, Eve Black, who I believe it starts out when she's younger, and this man who like, they call him the Nothing Man because like nobody can like figure out like who he is, or like his face or anything like that, because he always wears like a black mask. And he pretty much goes around, murders families and stuff like that. And he makes a mistake at this one house where he lets a little girl live. And what happens is that ends up being Eve, and then she writes a novel about the experience, obviously changing character names and stuff. And her like main reason why is to like get the guy to like come out and like either confess or like slip up and make a mistake, and because like everybody's trying to figure out who this guy is, and it's like really cool. There are a couple of plot twists in this book, as there normally are with the thriller picks picked by Danielle. When she read this, gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4.5. It's a really solid book. I kind of predicted one thing towards the end once I kind of was getting more into it, and I mentioned it to Danielle, and she was like, "I'm not telling you." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then there was another little twist. I actually had to like reread the ending like twice because I thought I missed something, because a name was brought back that was mentioned earlier in the book, and I was like, wait, I thought this happened to this person. And then I reread it, and I was like, oh, okay, so I guess that's the second twist. So, yeah, make sure you're paying attention towards the end there, because I got a little sidetracked and got lost with the last couple of words there. So, but also keep in mind that this is kind of like, I won't say it's like Misery, where like it is like a book being read within a book, but it kind of has that feeling. It worked for me in this. In Misery, it just didn't work because I wanted more of like the suspense and everything like that. That's why like Misery isn't this highly ranked. But this book, it like worked with the story, and I liked it. So that's why this worked for me. This was also on my December TBR, so check one book off, which I've only read one. But I got another one on the line, in the lineup here. So, but yeah, no, really cool book, 4.5 stars, The Nothing Man by Catherine Reinhard. Alright, the last one that I read was Just After Sunset by Stephen King. So this is a short story collection. It's got, I think it's 13 stories in it. There were some really good ones in here, and there were two that were just like, I didn't understand the point. Danielle also made a graphic for this, which we'll be putting up here so you can like see the ratings I made. I mean, the three big stories I really enjoyed the most was N, which was a story about this guy who's got like OCD, and like he's like thinks he's in control of like this demon coming from one dimension to our dimension. And pretty much what happens is the therapist he's talking to like ends up getting the responsibility to like start doing that for some reason, and then in like a long line, like it's a really interesting story, I'll say that much. Like, I would check that out. If you're gonna read any three from here, I would do N, The Cat from Hell, which like starts out as just kind of like a joking book or like story where it's like this old man's like suspicious of this cat because like it's murdered two people in his family, and like he hires this hitman. Like, he literally hires a hitman to kill a cat, and it does not go well. So I would also check that out. Then there's a story called Mute, where this like taxi driver is, I believe he's a taxi driver, but he's driving this guy who like can't talk and like is also saying he's like mute and deaf. And he's telling him this story about his wife, how she cheated on him, and this and that. And then this like really cool plot twist happens towards the end, and I absolutely really enjoyed it. I mean, Gingerbread Girl was another one that was pretty solid. And then there's another one, A Tight Place, Trapped in a Tight Place, I think is what it was called. That one, which is the last story, is also a really solid story. Harvey's Dream and Graduation Afternoon. I honestly didn't get them. I didn't understand them. There's actually a little section in the notes, like in the back, where like where Stephen King like talks about each book and like what it meant and like why he wrote it. He didn't have much to say about Harvey's Dream and Grad Afternoon. I think he said the same thing. He's like, I know it came to me in a dream, and that's about it. And I'm just like, I can tell. So I didn't like either of those stories. The other ones are all just kind of pretty average, you know. So, I mean, overall, I think the book is, I think I'm going to give it like 4 stars, which, as you guys have seen so far, I've come up with my list of top 20 Stephen King books. If you have not checked out 20 through 11, check it out up here. This is not in the top 20. I would probably put it, maybe I'll surprise you guys. I still am intending to make 30 through 21. That'll probably be out in January, I would guess. We're still kind of figuring out end of the year videos and stuff like that, and Stephen King, he's going to have his lists towards the end of the year, but this I'd probably put in the 30s or 40s, I would say. It's not towards the end, it's like kind of in the middle. But yeah, no, it was a really cool collection. I really enjoyed most of the stories except for the 2 I mentioned that were like 2 stars. What you gonna do? But yeah, really solid stuff. I would recommend this. Stephen King, Just After Sunset. Alright, so these are the 3 books that I have read recently. Overall, pretty solid average. And again, we will have them linked down below if you're intrigued with any of them. And always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you've read recently. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Later.